My parents skipped my wedding to attend my golden child sister's lunch. Now they're furious that I cut them off and refuse to call them mom and dad. I'm 25, female, and I have an older sister, 29, female. We're not very close with one another. The biggest reason why we are not so close is because of how everyone has treated us differently. As she is the older daughter, somewhere she got the better end of the stick, and she was always treated a lot better than I was. I don't like that. I've tried to tell myself that it was just my imagination. But when I was growing up, all the moments kind of culminated together and made it evident that what I felt was indeed right. She was the favored child. People in the family preferred her more. No matter what she did, no matter how insane it was, she was always given the benefit of the doubt, while I was not. It was not a good feeling. I tried to overcome it, but the only way I could do it was by moving away from the house. I would say I succeeded in doing that because since I moved out, I've been able to take care of my mental health a lot better. But I would be lying if I said that things were fine since I moved out when I was 18. My sister did everything to ruin my image in the eyes of my parents. She told my parents that I was doing drugs and drinking alcohol when I was not, and my parents believed her over me. They did not think about believing me for a second. I was okay with sitting for a drug test just to prove my innocence, but they could not be bothered. Yeah, so overall, the moral of the story is that I do not have a good relationship with my parents because of my sister. So after I moved out and all of this had blown over, I went no contact with my parents for about 2 years. I did not want to deal with them in the slightest, and I was happy like that, to be honest. I could focus on my career, my life, my boyfriend, and everything else. I was leading a happy life without the thought of them affecting me in the slightest. But when things took a turn for the worse, one covert hit, I was not talking with them during the first months of lockdown. But then I got news that my dad was hospitalized. I felt like it is the duty of a daughter to show up for him. I do not believe in treating someone the way they treat me. I treat people the way I want to treat them, and despite everything, I wanted to be there for him. Owing to his hospital stay, I started talking to my parents. Things have been fine since then. We started repairing our relationship. My sister was not too happy about it, but I made sure that she knew that I'm willing to stand my ground on this matter. On top of this, when my parents came to me with their financial trouble, I decided to help them as much as I could. Now I know that it sounds dumb, but in my brain, I felt like if I showed up wherever my sister was failing to show up, I would be considered an equal. This was because I knew my sister was waiting just around the corner to sabotage the whole relationship that I had with them. Helping them out financially actually worked in my favor the way I had intended, because whenever my sister tried to do some messed up stuff, my parents were open about how she did not show up when they needed her, so there's no need for her to talk bad about me. I would be lying if I said that I did not know that they did not want to piss me off because they were scared I would stop helping them. It was true. I knew I was going to stop helping them if they did anything wrong, and based on their financial condition, they needed whatever help they could get. I could be considered a bad person, but then again, I wanted to not be treated like garbage anymore, so I was willing to do whatever was required. While all of this was happening, my boyfriend and I were going steady. After our 4th anniversary, he proposed to me. I accepted, and it felt like finally, my life was looking up. I had a decent symbiotic relationship with my parents, my job was going well, and on top of that, my boyfriend and I were engaged to be married. Everything was planned out beautifully, and I was very excited. The only person who was not excited was my sister. She could not imagine why I thought I should get married so young when she's not even married. But here's the thing, my sister has never had a stable relationship or a long-lasting relationship. Her relationships barely lasted a year, so no wonder why she's not married. But her entire logic of, I should not get married because she's not married, sounded like a bunch of horse if I'm being honest. So I respectfully ignored her. The wedding was to be on a weekend so that everyone can attend, and I sent out the invitations. I sent invitations to my sister and my parents because despite everything, I really wanted my family to be there. The wedding was a week ago, last Saturday, and guess what happened? My parents did not show up. You could be thinking that something had happened or maybe something major. No, they did not show up because my sister decided to host a lunch at her place on the same date. And my parents decided it's much more important to meet their older daughter for her lunch than be there for their youngest daughter for her wedding. Seeing the way they behaved messed me up completely. I did not like it in the slightest. I felt like this was a sick joke because they did not even tell me that they were not going to come. I waited for 30 minutes, hoping they would show up until my maid of honor showed me the post my sister made on her social media, and that was when I found out that they were not coming. They looked so happy sitting next to her as if she was the only daughter that they had. I decided at that moment, I do not plan on helping them anymore. I decided that I'm 7 years too late to cut them off, but now is as good a time as any, so that is what I did. After my wedding was done, I sent them a message clearly. stating that I will never consider them as my parents again because they have repeatedly chosen my sister over me even when I have pulled through wherever she lacked, and as they refuse to respect me, I will not respect them either. Since then, I've stopped calling them mom and dad, and they're not happy. They have sent me several messages trying to excuse their behavior, but I am adamant. I do not plan on being nice to them in the slightest, but somewhere I feel like a huge a-hole for treating them that way. So I guess that's why I'm here. Am I the a-hole, or am I overthinking? Update 1. Hey everyone, I really appreciate you guys being there for me. Sorry, it took me a while to update you guys. I was out for my honeymoon. I returned yesterday, and I thought I should let you guys know how I feel. Overall, I do not feel like I'm the a-hole. But having you guys tell me that I am not the a-hole really made me happy. I've been ignoring my entire family since then because they've been consistently messaging me online. My sister and parents think they did nothing wrong, and I'm the one who's overreacting. My parents are not very happy with me refusing to pay for their stuff as well. They know very well that my sister is not going to pay for anything because she does not have the money to spare, but, oh well. I'm not planning on being friendly with them anymore. I hate that they made me feel like that. Update 2. So I know it's been about 3 days since I last updated you guys. Yesterday, my mother showed up at my place. I did not want to talk to her in the slightest, but she had been waiting outside my apartment like for hours before I came. That is what my neighbors told me later. And so I thought that I might as well let her in. That was not a good decision. The moment the doors closed, my mom started going off on me. She thought I was being a massive because how dare I paint them as the villain. She said that just because I'm married now I shouldn't act like he is my sole family. I have a family, and I should treat my parents and sister as my family too. I told her that whatever she's saying would be applicable if she ever treated me as family, but she never did. I was always treated like I was useless. Every time I needed them, she did not pull up, so what is the point of her coming to me and now pretending like I mean something to her? I also pointed out to her that even though she could have chosen to be there for me, she chose my sister on the day of my wedding. But my mom was so far up in her head she did not think that what she was doing was bad in any shape or form. It was pathetic seeing her behave the way she was behaving. It was sad. She did not think whatever she did was at all offensive or can be considered offensive by anyone. Instead, she insisted that I was the one who overreacted, and I hated that. I told her to get out and never get back in touch with me again unless she's ready to accept that she has been choosing my sister over me and there would be some changes in how she treats me. My mom said I'm crazy, and I told her that she can leave and never get back in touch with me if that is how she feels. Update 3. Hey everyone, sorry it's been a while since I last got in touch with you guys. Thank you to everyone who cheered me on when I told them that I'm going to cut off my parents. I appreciate that very much. I told you guys in the last update how my conversation with my mother ended up. We have not been talking since then. My father has been reaching out to me, and I have been ignoring him as well. My sister has messaged me on social media asking me to grow up and stop overreacting. But launch was really important to her, and family members have to sometimes sacrifice things for each other. I told her and my father the same thing I told my mother, and I have been adamant about the whole thing. While I do want to have a healthy relationship with my mother and father, unless they're willing to put in the work, I will not be the one carrying the whole weight on my shoulders. OP, not the a-hole. Honestly, you are my hero because I'm in a situation similar to yours with a family that is blatant about their favoritism, and honestly, if I could leave, I would do the same thing that you're doing, not the a-hole. They do not deserve to be called mom and dad if they're not willing to be a mom and dad to you. Anyone who thinks otherwise can take a long walk off a short pier. Next story. So my girlfriend, 23 female, and I, 25 male, have been dating for about 4 years. When I first introduced her to my friends, I noticed that she was getting along really well with my cousin Dan, 25 male. They had a similar sense of humor and common interests. Seeing my girlfriend challenge him to a shots competition and get him drunk on tequila was the highlight of our first New Year's together. It made me really happy to see them become friends, since me and Dan are very close as well. Dan started dating Joanna, 24, female, a year and a half ago, and they got engaged last December. He called me last week and asked me if I wanted to be the best man at his wedding. Obviously, I said yes. While we were talking, I mentioned how excited my girlfriend was for them in the wedding. That was the moment when he got quiet. I asked him if something happened, and he said that he and Joanna decided to have a small wedding with only family and close friends, and that no partners were allowed if they were not married, or at least engaged. I got angry and asked how they could even think of this rule without taking our relationship into consideration. Dan told me that while he wanted my girlfriend there, if they made an exception for us, then other people would expect it as well, so there was nothing he could do. When I told my girlfriend about what happened, she was visibly hurt. So 2 days ago, I texted Joanna and asked her if she and Dan discussed our situation. She said that she doesn't want a stranger at their wedding, and that she doesn't consider her family regardless of how serious our relationship is. I snapped and told Joanna that most of Dan's family, therefore mine, see my girlfriend as part of the family more than they see her, since she didn't bother to build relationships with relatives other than Dan's parents. Well, Joanna got mad and told my cousin about what happened. He called me an a-hole and told me that I have to apologize if I don't want to be replaced as best man. I told him to do it because I won't be attending the wedding if my girlfriend isn't invited. Dan hasn't spoken to me since, and my girlfriend keeps telling me that I should just apologize because she doesn't want to be the reason why I don't have a relationship with my cousin anymore. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. A wedding invitation is not a summons. They are free to make their choices, but you're also free to decline the invitation. What the heck kind of earth-shattering flood of plus ones are they expecting at an already small wedding? That's the flimsiest excuse I've ever heard. This would be reasonable if you just met. This might even be reasonable if you were a regular guest, however. You've been with your girlfriend for 4 years, and you're the best man. Not allowing her to come is specifically callous. They're literally saying it's her or us, and your girlfriend is clearly the winner simply by not picking the fight. They know her, she's not a stranger, but they're choosing to treat her like one. And if they lose her and you by extension, that's the choice they made. The groom's shame and reluctance, even bringing it up, screams 2 things to me. He knows it's wrong. This was the bride's decision. Jealous, maybe. Keep your heart open, but you're not the one started putting rifts in your friendship. Dan is. You tore it up further by insulting the bride. Let this go its natural course. You may love Dan, but you'll never be able to compete with his Bonnie Bridezilla opinion too, not the a-hole. You seem very serious in your relation, and as you mentioned, your family has accepted your girlfriend as part of them. I think the fact your girlfriend got along so great with your cousin is the real issue. Joanna doesn't want her there. You're definitely not the a-hole for defending your girlfriend. Not the a-hole. The no unmarried, unengaged couples rule is stupid, and it downplays a lot of perfect valid couplings, yours included. If the bride doesn't want strangers at her wedding, don't invite someone who might bring a stranger. But it is their wedding, and they can make whatever stupid rules they want. You are within your right to not go, and you're giving proper notice to do so. So no, you aren't the a-hole here. Next story. I met my husband 7 years ago, and my son was 4. We got pregnant with our daughter only 2 months after dating, his only biological child. Things are actually absolutely fantastic in our relationship despite rushing into things. There's hardly ever been issues until recently. My son's 12th birthday is coming up soon, and we had always told him we would get him a phone for his 12th birthday. He's honestly been hopping on us since he was 9 because all his friends had a phone, and he felt like the oddball out. I felt terrible and wanted to cave several times, but didn't, because my husband and I already decided together that we would get him one at age 12. Now that his birthday is right around the corner, he's very fixated and excited that he would be able to get a phone. He's fully expecting it, which I already knew would happen because of how many times we told him when you're 12. Well, I was looking at phones online the other day that had some parental controls and all that happy jazz. And my husband decided in this moment that he doesn't think my son is old enough for a phone and that he should have to wait until he's at least 15. I told him that absolutely was not happening, but entertained his reasoning to figure out the why. He said that basically, he didn't want my kid having access to any form of social media, and he feels that getting him a phone would be forcing him to grow up too fast and be subjected to the media and ignorance. I reiterated that this was the deal we had with my kid, and I wasn't going back on it. I don't even agree with his reasoning, to be 100% honest with you, but I didn't tell him that. I just said I wasn't going back on a promise. He argued it for easily 30 minutes, saying no, he doesn't even need a phone, before I finally told him he has absolutely no say on this, and I'm getting my kid a cell phone. He snaps back with, then it had better be a freaking flip phone because I don't want him on the damn internet. He has not spoken to me since. Am I the a-hole? Half my friends are on my side, but the other half says I need to consider what he's saying, not the a-hole. Sorry to push this another 3 years after making your son wait 3 years will shatter any trust he has in you both. Better to make rules, use parental software effectively, and teach him responsibility than alienate him like this. Not the a-hole. All the other kids his age are going to have phones. On top of this, many modern-day middle school classrooms send out SMS reminders for homework, exams, and supplemental classroom information. Your husband needs to get with the times. 1993 was 30 years ago. What's your husband going to tell your kid when he's 15? Wait till you're 18. On top of that, refusing to give your kid any responsibility is a self-fulfilling endeavor that guarantees you have an irresponsible child. It's far better for the kid to get exposure to social media while he's still receptive to your guidance than it is to wait until he's in the I know better stage where he'll completely ignore your warnings and stumble into trouble. Not the a-hole. You can limit access to kid's phone, and he will find a way how to get on social media if he wants to. My 7-year-old who have problems with reading found a way how to access the internet outside our home. Best way is to teach them being approachable when kid finds something disturbing and not to freak out on them for what they saw.